Welcome! Let's see how we can create a competition manually in Tempus Entry. First, let's log in. Once logged in, move to the right and click on New Competition. And here we will have to enter all the mandatory fields. All the mandatory fields are marked with an asterisk so that you know which you have to fill in. So let's start by entering the organizer, and that's who's organizing this competition. In our case, let's call it ICCMS. And then you have the competition name. Let's call it ICCMS Super Open 2025. And it will be held in the city of Stockholm. And then we move on to set the competition start date. Let's have it starting on Thursday. And then you have competition end date. Let's have it over the weekend. So it stops at Sunday. And then we move over to put in the date for the deadline for entries. And let's have the deadline for entries the day before the competition at midnight. So here you can specify the hours as well. So 1 minute before midnight. If you want to enable late entries, then you set the date here for when you have to have your deadlines for the late entries. If you do not want to enable late entries, you can just put it on the same time and date as the regular entries. Then let's move over to see the next mandatory field, which is max number of entries per swimmer. And this is how many entries you want to enable each swimmer to enter. It can be anything from 1 to no limit. In this case, let's keep it at 12. If we move down, we have some checkboxes that we can check to help us out. And if you check the change status automatically at last date for entries is ended, that means that the status of this competition will automatically change as the deadlines pass. So in this case, when your deadline for entries ends, then your status for the competition will be set to closed for entries. If you want to enable this for late entries, you will check this box. And that will do the same for late entries. If you do not check these boxes, then you will have to change the status of your competition manually. So you will have to go here and then pick manually. Let's explore some more tick boxes. If you tick entry with 0 time can be changed to a manual edited time, this will allow the registering user to click edit to change the 0 time to a manual edit entry time. But if you're using qualification times for your given events, you cannot use 0 times as an entry time, and this checkbox will not be in use. The Masters competition, tick this checkbox if the competition is only for master swimmers, because this will make some changes to some parts of the competition. For example, the relay age will be managed in another way than in regular competitions. If your competition has a qualification period, then you edit the start of that period down here and the end of that period down here. If you do not have a qualification period, you can keep the start date as it is and then just put the end period the same date as your competition actually starts. And that should do that. So if you want to edit the starting period, you can just change it right here this case, let's change it to January 1st, 2025. If we move over and look to the status, and you didn't check the tick boxes at the top here, if you did check them, you remember they will change the status automatically for you. But if you didn't check them, then you will have to change the status here manually. And you have the different options: open for entries, closed for entries, locked for entries, open for late entries, cancelled, or when the competition is over, completed. In the competition area, you specify if your competition is a national competition, international competition, or maybe a club competition. So then we move over to type of time limits. And here we have 3 selections that we can choose between: default value, A and B qualification times, and GP Grand Prix. So the default value means that you have one time limit for each pool length and age group in the event. Normally the qualification times are 0 times, and all can be registered to the event independent of entry time. The A and B qualification times. Here you have 2 different qualification times for each pool length and age group. The swimmer will need to have swum better than at least one A qualification time, and then is allowed to register to other events if they have swum better than the B qualification time in those events. For Grand Prix qualification times, this means that you have swum better than one of the qualification times for one event, and then you're allowed to register for any other event as well. Now let's look at the different types of entry time. We have no recounting of entry times, and this means that the swimmer's best time in actual qualification period is used independent of if it's swum in 25 or 50 meter pool. Only times swum in competition pool length. That means that only the entry times swum in actual competition pool are shown. Entry times in selected competition pool length first means that if you have a competition in a 25 meter pool, the 25 meter pool times are selected first. But if the swimmer has a better time in a 50 meter pool, the 50 meter pool time will be used instead. Use recounting times. Here you can edit recounting times for each age group and pool length for each event. If the competition pool is 25 meter, the swimmer's entry time in 50 meter pool is recounted and compared with his best time in a 25 meter pool, and then the best time is shown. If you want to add any additional information about the competition, you can write it down here. For example, welcome, looking forward to having you. And in this last drag and drop box, you can drop, for example, a competition invitation file or any other file that you want to share with the people that will attend your competition. So let's drag and drop an invitation file, and there it is. When you're done with everything here, you click Save. And since we're doing this manually, we do not have any events attached to this competition yet. So are you sure you want to continue? Yeah. Now to add some events to your competition, you will need to go to your competition and click on the information icon. Here at the top, we have a button called Add Events. Click on it, and here you can specify the number of the event, the gender, which event it is, the event name, which session of your competition the event is supposed to be in, the date, and here you have your dates that you have checked that your competition will be held, and then you have some age group information. You can just leave it like this if it's an open age group, or you can specify starting age, ending age, the recounting time for 50 meter and recounting time for yards. That is whichever recounting formula you have. You can just specify it down here. And if you have a qualifying time in 25 meter pool, you enter it here. If you have it in 50 meter pool or in yards, you enter them accordingly. When done, you click Save. And now we have added one event to our competition. And if you want to add more events, you just repeat this process. And that is how you create a competition manually in Tempus Entry.